Welcome to the 5 best stretches every snowboarder should be doing. Before we get started, my name is Mark. I'm a doctor of physical therapy, one half of Mobility Duo, and we work exclusively with snowboard athletes of varying levels in regards to strengthening, flexibility, mobility, making you better all around so you can ride until you're 70+ years old. We appreciate any likes, any comments, or subscriptions, as it really helps us continue making amazing content. If you like what you see here, check out our international SNOGA or Yoga for Snowboard community, link in the description below. So one thing I want to make very clear are these are not the only stretches that we do. We often do a variety of different stretches in our SNOGA subscription, but you will often see these come up again and again because we enjoy them, we feel like they are effective, and they are relatively easy to perform. Without further ado, enjoy! First move we have is a quad hip flexor stretch. So the name speaks for itself. I get into a lunge position, and right now what I'm doing is I'm grabbing that back leg. Obviously do this on something soft, but what this is doing is we are stretching that quad pretty aggressively. I can tip forward if I want to add some dorsiflexion or bend in that front ankle. This is pretty extreme, so I'll show you another alternative here in just a second, but we're also stretching that hip flexor on that left side as well. This is another alternative, and if you can't do that, another alternative is here. I'm going back on that weight, really focusing more on that hip flexor on the left side, dorsiflexion on the ankle, and then adding some of that lat stretch in here as well. So these are primary hip flexors, knee flexors, ankle dorsiflexors, yeah, so all good things. In this move, we have a supine rotation, so just like it sounds, I'm gonna get in a supine position on my back. I'm gonna bring my knees in. It's really gonna stretch that low back, as we turn that pelvis. I'm gonna put my right leg down first. I'm still keeping my knee in close to my chest, really stretching that hip flexor on the right. With that right arm, I bring that knee over my body to add that rotation or that counter rotation, separation, especially in my thoracic spine. And I'm gonna look in the opposite direction. I'm not forcing this by any means, but I just have a little bit of resistance on top of that knee. Once I feel good, I'm gonna come back, bring my knees back up to neutral, reset, and then I will redo the other side, now extending my left leg, making sure not to knock all of my boards over. And the same thing, left hand this time, counter rotation. I'm trying to keep that shoulder on the floor. Again, I'm not overly aggressive with this, and I'm looking in the direction of that opposite hand. So this should feel pretty good, but it's great for that counter rotation ability on a snowboard, and then I'll reset my spine. So this one is called a standing figure 4. So maybe many of you have done a seated figure 4, but specifically for your hips, but this time it's standing. So we incorporate some of that proprioception balance. We're also incorporating that glute med, glute max strength, or not strength, but stretch, as well as that quad isometric strength on that standing leg. This one's easy to do against a wall if you need to. If you're in snowboard gear, it's awesome before you hit the slopes. I'm just showing you an alternative. You need to hold on to something for balance. All right, next move, we have barrel rolls. You often see this in our SNOGA program. Sarah loves these. Fantastic for thoracic, lumbar, range of motion mobility. And essentially I'll get in all fours and I'm just moving my spine kind of fluidly, moving in different ways. I'm moving my pelvis into anterior, posterior tilt, really adding some weight in my shoulders. It's a great warm-up before you get started on the mountain, before you get started in any type of movement. But my weight is evenly distributed. Really trying to move each vertebrae between my mid and lower back. So it should feel pretty good. Last but not least, the infamous yogi squat. This one's tough, so take your time, don't force it. I'm going into a sumo squat wide position. My feet are externally rotated. I'm dropping down, really stretching that low back, glutes, putting a little bit more pressure on that knees. Obviously, I'm not a yogi myself. I try to be, but you can see some of that restriction in my range of motion, but I'm still pretty happy about this. Working on, dorsiflexion, knee range of motion, hip range of motion, low back stretching, some mid back stretching as well. This should feel pretty good. If you want to get aggressive, you can move into internal, external hip rotation. But overall, a great movement before or after snowboarding. You can make this as easy or as difficult as you want. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you all next time.